Good morning, everyone. Okay, we're going to try it one more time. Good morning, everyone. It's a joy to be with you all at Newman Lumen on this Thursday morning. Thanks for making the trek across campus in the slightly humid and dreary weather. It's always a joy to gather during this time together. And today, to kick off our time together, we are so pleased to welcome the music interns from Catholic Campus Ministry who manage and lead Catholic Campus Ministry's music, leading services, particularly throughout important holy weeks and months of the year, but also just on regular Sundays for Mass as well. So I'm going to let each of the interns briefly introduce themselves because they know themselves better than I do.
Make me a channel of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me bring you love. Where there is injury, your pardon, Lord. And where there's not true faith in you. Make me a channel of your peace. Where there's despair in life, let me bring hope. Where there is darkness, only light. And where there's sadness, ever joy. Master, grant that I may never see so much to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love with all my soul. Make me a channel of your peace. It is in pardoning that we are pardoned, in giving of ourselves that we receive, and in dying that we're born to eternal life.
Good morning, everyone. My name is T. Winduk, part of the CCM staff here in the Truist Center, and it is my honor and privilege to introduce Dr. Madison Chandler to you today. Madison is an assistant professor in the Elon Department of Exercise Science, where she teaches and mentors student research focused on the relationship between a healthy body and a healthy brain. Prior to Elon, Madison was a postdoctoral researcher in the Concussion Research Center at UNC Chapel Hill, and before that, received a PhD in kinesiology from Michigan State University and a bachelor's degree in psychology from UNC Chapel Hill. Go Heels. One of the highlights of Madison's undergraduate career was her involvement with the Newman Catholic Student Center Parish at Chapel Hill, which is similar to the CCM that we have here, where she led small groups, organized retreats, and formed lifelong relationships with both fellow students and faculty members at UNC. The deepening of faith that occurred during these formative years inspired Madison to want to get involved with the Catholic community here at Elon. And as a faculty member, she reached out to Father Peter and me during her first year here, and I know I was so excited to meet with Madison. And from that, a plan for establishing a Catholic faculty and staff employee resource group was formed. The CRG, comprising people from all across campus, has been a source of community and a wonderful way to keep faith at the center of the work that we do here at Elon. Today, Madison will be speaking to us about moments past, present, and future, and the ways in which we can think about these types of moments to experience peace and joy in this current moment. And I'm so excited to, again, have Madison speak. She is a great source of joy, certainly in the lives of all that she encounters. I always am happy to see her. So please join me in giving Madison a warm welcome.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks so much, T, for the introduction, and to the interns for such wonderful music this morning. As T said, my name is Madison Chandler, and I'm so excited to be with you all today. When I first received the invitation from Reverend Julie this summer to speak at Newman Lumen, I was immediately struck by the theme. in this moment. As I thought over the coming weeks about how I'd like to frame my remarks, I kept coming back to the idea of 3 different types of moments: past, present, and future. Past, present, and future moments. I'm going to begin my talk with a confession. I have a brain that loves to focus on the future. If I'm not careful, I can spend quite a bit of time thinking and worrying and planning about future moments. What if XYZ happens? What if it doesn't? How will I handle it? What can I do now to prepare for XYZ scenarios? What if it all goes terribly wrong? I affectionately refer to this as planner brain or worst case scenario brain. I suspect I'm not alone in this type of thinking. And while sometimes proactivity and planning can be helpful, for example, I'm a huge asset on trips, more often than not, spending time on future moments robs us of fully experiencing joy and peace in the gift of present moments. Through my own experiences, I've come to realize the following. We can trust that future moments will work out exactly as they should by doing 2 things. First, by remembering past moments when everything has worked out, and second, by finding ways to stay anchored in present moments. I'll say that again. In times of uncertainty, we can trust that future moments will work out exactly as they should by remembering past moments and finding ways to stay anchored in present moments. Let's unpack this a little bit. Anyone who's ever taken any of my classes knows that there is nothing I love more than a concrete example. So I'll share a concrete example from my own life that might be helpful in illustrating just one small instance of how remembering past moments and staying anchored in present moments help me to trust that my future moments would all work out exactly as they should. I graduated from graduate school in the spring of 2021, the height of the pandemic amidst worldwide uncertainty and unpredictability. At that point, I had secured a 2-year postdoctoral position at UNC Chapel Hill and was excited to be returning home to North Carolina after an incredibly fulfilling, but incredibly exhausting several years in Michigan. I knew this research position would only be temporary, but was very grateful to have the chance to get my feet back underneath me as I figured out my next steps. Since the time I was a sophomore in college, I knew that I wanted to be a professor. And so I also knew that 1 year into this postdoc, I would begin the process of applying for and interviewing for faculty jobs. Now, I would be willing to bet that anyone in the audience who's gone through the faculty job application process would likely tell you that it was among the more stressful and overwhelming undertakings of their career, if not maybe their life. The number of positions available in any given year varies and also depends on which disciplines are hiring for which types of positions and what types of expertise they're hoping to bring to their department. I ended up applying for and going through the process of Zoom interviews and on-campus interviews at several schools, something that was both exhilarating and draining. I told you at the beginning of this talk that I have a planner brain, and you can probably imagine the anguish a planner brain goes through when faced with the prospect of this many unknowns. Where will I end up? In 6 months' time, where will I be living? Will I get to stay near my family and friends, or will I have to uproot my life and start all over again? Will I end up in a place where I feel fulfilled, where I can teach and do research with supportive colleagues in a supportive department, where I can grow professionally but also grow as a whole person? And will I be able to tell all these things from the interview process? And this is where the realization came to me. If I wanted to survive a scenario with this many unknown future moments, I was going to have to remember the past moments and find ways to anchor myself in present moments. Let me be very clear. This is easy for me to talk about now because it's over. At the time, in the midst of this process, it was a daily, moment-by-moment battle. Every time I felt myself drifting into the what-ifs of future moments, I would try to gently redirect myself by saying, remember all the times in your life you faced uncertainty before? Remember all the worst-case scenario what-ifs that never came true and all the best-case scenario ones that did? Specifically, I'd try to recall the last time I had faced a similar type of uncertain situation, when I was a senior in high school and facing the decision of where to go to college. With many possible avenues, I agonized over whether I was making the right decision and whether everything would all work out. Would I make lifelong friends? Would I end up with a good job? Would this be the place I was meant to be? As it turns out, going to UNC was one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. There is not a doubt in my mind that I was, in fact, on the right path all along. Remembering this past moment where everything worked out exactly as it should helped me to trust that the outcome of the job search process would be the same. To anchor myself in the present moment, I knew I would need some sort of concrete action to provide me with some grounding when I felt myself drifting away. And so my solution was I decided to sign up for a 5K race and to commit myself to a training plan that would give me purpose and direction over the course of the next several months. As it turns out, this was exactly what I needed. On days I could feel myself starting to spiral about what ifs or worry about upcoming interviews, I would check my training plan and head out for a run. I might not have known where I'd be living in 6 months' time, but I did know that tonight I'd be running laps around my neighborhood for 30 minutes and then eating dinner. I might not know if I'd find the right balance of teaching and research, but I knew that my dog and I could tackle this week's interval workout together at the local trail. After each run, I felt calmer and more at peace, and the running ended up leading to other grounding practices. For example, trying new recipes to make for pre- and post-run meals and recommitting to a daily habit of prayer, which also served as anchors to the present moment. I was even able to recruit some friends and colleagues to run the race with me, and so we built a sense of community as we trained for the race together, even further grounding in a time where, as my grandmother used to say, my feet were firmly planted in midair. The dual habits of reminding myself of past moments where everything worked out and anchoring myself in the present moment became ingrained in me over the course of those months. In fact, over time, I felt noticeably more grounded as I entered each interview situation. By not dwelling on a hypothetical future, I could be fully present in each interaction, able to discern whether I saw myself fitting in as a faculty member in each department. I was able to ask meaningful questions, make genuine connections with the people I met, and take clear-headed notes afterwards about the specifics of each position. This story obviously has a happy ending as I'm standing before you here at Elon, living out what for me is truly a dream job. It has now been 3 years since that job search process began, and I am glad to report that I'm still holding on to the lessons that experience taught me. I am by no means an expert in life or a master of peace and joy, and I know that there are many, many days of uncertainty still ahead of me. That said, in the times I feel myself drifting towards the what-ifs, which, yes, does still happen to me quite a bit, I try to gently remind myself of past moments, which now includes this job search process, and to do things to ground myself in the present moment, trusting that my future is in good hands. I would like to close our time today by sharing with you one of my all-time favorite prayers by my personal favorite saint, Saint Therese of Lisieux. Here's the prayer. May today there be peace within. May you trust God that you are exactly where you are meant to be. May you not forget the infinite possibilities that are born of faith. May you use those gifts that you have received and pass on the love that has been given to you. May you be content knowing you are a child of God. Let this presence settle into your bones and allow your soul the freedom to sing, dance, praise, and love. It is there for each and every one of us. Amen. Thanks again so much for having me this morning. Today and every day, may we all trust God that we are exactly where we are meant to be.